Hi, Sally Ann here. Why am I talking about protein? Well, it seems to be following me around a bit. I have had several conversations over the past couple of weeks all about protein. What's been shared? I need to eat 190 grams of protein. When I go to snack, I think about what can I eat that contains protein? And another one, when I'm planning my meals, I'm thinking about protein first. Protein is important. It's important for maintaining and repairing our bodies and for maintaining muscle as we age. But I found myself wondering, when did protein become the nutrient that dominates our conversations about food and health? And perhaps more importantly, why are we focusing on protein and forgetting the bigger picture of nourishment and health? I've been so concerned about this topic that I've actually shuffled my podcast schedule to fit this in today. And in this episode, we're going to explore how much protein you actually need, what you're hoping to achieve by eating more protein, and has protein quietly become another food rule? Protein is important, but it doesn't work alone. Protein supports the maintenance and repair of tissues in the body and is important for muscle health, immune function, enzymes, hormones, and supports many other processes in the body. But our bodies don't use nutrients in isolation. For example, if you're trying to maintain or build muscle, protein matters, but so does getting enough overall energy from food. You need carbohydrate to fuel the movement and support recovery and repair. You also need resistance and strength building activities, sleep and recovery time. And as I always say, consistency matters. What you do over the long term is what makes a difference. If your goal is to have stronger muscles, are you just looking at how much protein you're eating, or are you considering the type of movement, your sleep, and also time for recovery? So how much protein do we actually need? Protein requirements aren't the same for everyone. Everyone's needs are influenced by our age, our body size, our health, our activity level, our training goals, our appetite, and our overall eating patterns. As a healthcare practitioner, I do have scientifically based guidelines that I refer to assist my clients. So when I hear someone say, I've been told I need to eat 190 grams of protein, my first response isn't necessarily that the number is right or wrong. My question is why? What is the person trying to achieve? How was the amount determined and by whom? Does it take their individual health and individual circumstances into account? Can they realistically eat that amount of protein as a balanced and enjoyable way of eating? And if you need multiple supplements, protein powders and protein bars every day simply to reach a target, is it worth checking whether that target is actually appropriate for you? A protein target without considering your overall health and well-being isn't personalised nutrition advice. And especially in this case, because the target of 190 grams was double the current Australian recommendation for protein intake. So this also raises ethical and environmental considerations for me. Many people in developing countries are not meeting minimum protein requirements, and producing animal sources of protein produce greenhouse gases and put a strain on vital resources like water. What happens when protein becomes a priority for you, though? So this brings me back to some other comments, like when I snack, I think, what can I eat that has protein? And I'm now prioritizing protein at every meal. So there's nothing wrong with including protein at meals and snacks. In fact, it's one of the things I encourage to aid satiation, along with fibre, adequate hydration, the personalised timing of meals, as these things together help you feel satisfied for longer and reduce your need to snack. So What happens when protein alone becomes the priority of whether food is worth eating? What foods are being pushed off the plate? Are we getting enough vegetables and fruit? Are we eating enough whole grains and carbohydrate foods? So are we getting enough fiber? Are we eating that variety of foods? 30 plus plant foods are recommended for gut health. Are we choosing foods that we actually enjoy and satisfy us? Are our protein choices supporting our health? Or are they increasing our risk of heart disease, diabetes, or cancer? And are we really starting to just judge food according to one number? So this is why I wonder whether protein for some people is becoming the new diet rule. Over the years, nutrients have taken turns at being the focus of food rules. At different times, people have been told to count calories, avoid fat, cut carbohydrate, or eliminate sugar. And in my 30 plus years as a dietitian, some of these fads have been reinvented several times, but disguised with a different name. Now, for some people, the rule might be every meal must be high in protein. Every snack must contain protein. I must hit my protein target every day. So have we moved away from one set of food rules to replace them with another? When eating becomes focused on hitting a number, we can start relying on those external rules and less on the internal feedback. We might stop asking, am I hungry? What would satisfy me? What would nourish me today? And how does eating this food actually make me feel? The goal of healthy eating shouldn't be to become anxious about getting food right. Ideally, you will be supported to tune into your mind and body and see what it tells you. Now I encourage you to reflect. Why are you focusing on protein? Is it because you want to lose weight? Is it because you want to maintain or build muscle? Are you worried about becoming weaker as you age? Are you trying to manage hunger? Or have you simply heard you need to eat more protein? If the goal is body weight, I would like to remind you that body weight is influenced by far more than a single nutrient or food alone. Sleep, stress, movement, medications, health conditions, hormones, eating behaviours, and many other factors can play a role. And as I've shared in earlier episodes of the Eating For You podcast, weight on its own doesn't really mean very much at all, especially when it comes to our health or our happiness for that matter. If the goal is muscle strength, protein is just part of the picture. Muscles also need appropriate movement and challenge, adequate energy and carbohydrate, and time for recovery. If the goal is healthy aging, we need to look at the big picture. And we only have to go to the blue zone communities where we see food being nourishing, a source of pleasure. Movement fits into everyday life. Sleep is important. Being aware of stress and reducing stress is always a goal. And enjoying relationships that line up with our purpose in life and bring us joy. So much more than just protein. Sometimes it can be tempting to look at one nutrient to solve a problem, but we have to remember all problems have many different influences. Now I would like to return to the snack conversation or the snacking conversation. So instead of automatically asking, what can I eat that has protein? I encourage you to actually first ask, am I hungry? What would nourish me? What would satisfy me? What haven't I eaten much of today or this week? How do I want to feel after eating? Protein might be part of the answer, but it doesn't have to always be the first or only consideration. Mindful eating helps us to move away from following rules to gathering feedback about our personal eating situations and experiences. We notice why, what, when, and how we eat, and how these choices make us feel, and whether our choices are supporting our health and well-being. So, how much protein do you need? The answer depends on your age, your health, your activity, your goals, and your overall eating pattern. I encourage you to seek personalised advice, particularly if you've been given or created a very high target of protein to achieve, such as the 190 grams that I shared today, reminding you that was double what the current recommendations in Australia are for protein. Or you are making major changes to your eating, or you're relying heavily on supplements to meet a prescribed number. You are most welcome to contact me and we can arrange a consultation, or I can refer you on to someone better suited to your health goals. Healthy eating should support your health and your life. It shouldn't turn every meal or snack into a mathematical equation. So protein has come up in my life over the past couple of weeks. So I know there are many more questions out there. I'd love to know, what does protein mean to you at the moment? Are you focusing on protein for weight loss, or to build or maintain muscle, to manage hunger, for healthy aging? Have you been given a protein target and just wonder whether it's right for you? Are you wondering whether you need a protein powder or supplement, or whether the ones you're taking are actually beneficial or perhaps harmful? Please share your questions and concerns with me, as I'd love to explore these real concerns in future episodes. So you're most welcome to leave a comment or send me an email. The link to my email is in the show notes. Protein is important, but health is bigger than protein. Nourishment is bigger than nutrients. And the right amount for you starts with understanding you. On the podcast next week, I welcome back Tanya Grzeski, and we're going to be exploring the topic, what is your digestion trying to tell you? We're looking beyond gut health from a Chinese medicine perspective. It's a practical and holistic conversation about taking care of your unique self. Thanks for listening, and I look forward to sharing with you next week. As always, if you've enjoyed this episode, please let us know and share it on your social media pages. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already.